Urban are an SME based in Liverpool. We research and develop the most efficient ways to grow food in urban environments. Aquaponics, hydroponics, mushroom cultivation. So hydroponics is where you grow plants in water as opposed to soil, and you add the nutrients directly to the water. Aquaponics is where you grow fish and plants together in a closed loop system. So your fish are fertilising your plants, and your plants are purifying the water for your fish. So it's a very, very efficient and sustainable way to grow food in cities. The first system we developed and installed is the system we're at today, which is on the roof of the University of Liverpool. We've got 3 systems in the new Alder Hey Children's Hospital, a system over at Nest Gardens, and various systems in schools across the city as well.
We've been looking at aquaponics for some period of time now. Aquaponics is the combination of aquaculture, growing fish and other aquatic organisms, with hydroponics, so soilless growing systems, water growing systems. Basically, this is a way in which we can take agriculture into different settings. So it could be applied, for instance, on an unused space on the roof of a house, or in a back garden, or in a tunnel, or in a basement. And we're looking at all those kind of scenarios.
I chose to do a low carbon eco-innovatory project opposed to a standard PhD project because I was quite keen to work with industry, have industry partners we work quite close with, rather than just being stuck in a lab or in a small office somewhere in a postgrad department, publish papers, and that was the start of it, and you don't see where you actually have an effect. Whereas working with Farm Urban, I can do all the stuff in the lab, I can stay in the lab and do my research, but then I can talk to industry partners, we can implement that research straight away. You just feel more engaged and it's much more rewarding.
So the way food's currently produced is inefficient and unsustainable, and its distribution's incredibly wasteful. It makes no sense to be growing perishable goods like salads and herbs in southern Spain, putting them in a plastic bag on an aeroplane and shipping them to the UK for 60% to end up going in the bin. If you can grow those foods in the cities right where they're needed, you drastically reduce the carbon footprint, you drastically reduce the waste, and it's much healthier, fresher food that's grown for taste and nutrient density rather than transport. So we're working with the Low Carbon Eco-Innovatory to collaborate with the University of Liverpool. So the researcher that is at the heart of that collaboration is really starting to break down some of the barriers to entry into aquaponics. So there's lots of issues around optimizing nutrient flow, around pest control. So you can't use standard methods of pest control because whatever you put in those plants will kill the fish. And also looking at how we can introduce monitoring systems so we can reduce the labour involved. So a lot of the demonstrator systems we've got require weekly maintenance from us. So through this collaboration, we're looking at a sensor system that can automate that all for us so we can remotely monitor how the systems are doing. Without the collaboration with the Low Carbon Eco-Innovatory, it would put us in a really difficult position because this concept is so new and innovative. It requires research, is fundamental to it. So before the collaboration, there was a real conflict between developing product and researching.
If you can actually grow plants and animals anywhere, in the basement of your building, on the roof, in the foyer, you completely short circuit that carbon footprint of your rocket coming from Israel, your fish coming from America or from Alaska. We can actually put them and grow them in your city.
You're using waste from the fish to grow the plants rather than using chemical fertilizers, which are quite costly to produce in terms of resources. So phosphorus, one of the main 3 elements used in the fertilizer, is mound out the ground. And by 2050, we're going to hit peak production, and from then onwards, minimal amounts coming out. So we get ours from the fish rather than from the ground, so that's one benefit. And things like nitrogen, you use the Haber process where you pull out the air, but it's incredibly energy intensive.
We're having a real challenge from industry, a real challenge from a growing company. We're always sense checked, reality checked against what the industry wants.
I can see the end result of this project being people viewing aquaponics as a very good solution to quite a few of the problems we have. That people would look to it and be encouraged to say, yeah, I'd like to have an aquaponics system on my building or in the foyer or where people can see it, so people can get the food that they need right in their doorstep. They can see the farming process. They can think about things like supply chains, where they get the food from, just make it more relevant, more appealing, and make it just work.